Hello, I'm Zash, and welcome to episode 35 of my G-Senjou no Maou, or The Devil on G-String, Let's Read. Joining me, as always, is my co-reader Faith. Last episode, Mao's accomplice, Mephistopheles, nearly assassinated someone. However, it wasn't the target we expected. He went after the cafe owner, Kimiko. He also left behind a false clue to try to throw us off the track. But Usami saw through the ruse at the last moment. And because of his carelessness, we got a picture of him from the TV recording. Anyway, please enjoy this next episode. It's good to see you. I threw a word of greeting towards a man in a suit who seemed like a guard, and stepped into the courtyard of Gonzou's estate. I had company in the yard. A bodyguard with the build of a wild beast stood a few feet away. He was as still as a statue. After I made my salutations and sat down, Gonzou spoke.
The Shin'e group is at it again.
Shin'e? Are they trying to expand their territory? The Shin'e group favors a militaristic approach to the Yakuza power struggle. They're one of the top organizations within the Soa Alliance. They refuse to engage in fraud, intimidation, or coercion, and consider even drugs to be an absolute taboo. I suppose one would say they're living in the past, since they're extremely insistent about order and loyalty and whatnot. There aren't too many of them overall, but what members they have are fiercely devoted. Naturally, they don't get along too well with Gonzou Sonoyama group, who would do anything to turn a profit.
At the end of the year, the geezers of the Alliance are planning on having a little get-together. That's probably what's got them all riled up.
Geezers. I guess he's referring to the men who lead the Soa groups. The Zai Gonzou must truly fear nothing.
Have they done any real damage?
Everything's still under control at the moment. Well, there was a drunken brawl at a bar on Central Boulevard yesterday. But we don't know whether or not it was caused by people from Shin'e. My words were riddled with fear. Fear of the blank, expressionless gaze Gonzou wore.
All right, let's crush them.
A member of a offending group has caused trouble in an establishment controlled by our organization. An incident like this is generally resolved after the offender commits yubitsume, a procedure wherein the man hacks a joint off his little finger in order to show penance. However, Shin'e's yet to cough up a pinky. Forgive me for speaking out of turn, but I heard an interesting rumor from an informant.
Ellipses.
He received word that a certain group within the Soa Alliance is importing large quantities of weapons from Russia. Gonzou gave me a glare that intimidated me into silence.
There are less than 100 of those pigs, and we have over 1,000 people. Even if the cattle were to charge with machine guns, I tell my men the same thing. Go and die. Your corpses will be our shields.
I could only silently nod.
Keep searching for Maou. Use the same people.
Understood. Everything that needed to be said has been. After parting with Gonzou and calming down, my cell phone rang. The call was from my mother. Hey. Yeah, how are you? What? Your health? Well, that doesn't sound very good. Yes, I'll take some time to visit you. Please, take care of yourself. It was a very long phone call. What a nightmare. I wish I could fly over to Mum's side right now. But Lord knows what Gonzou would have to say about that. He'd just demand that I find Maou. Even if my mother's ill, there's not a damn thing I can do about it. Damn it, Gonzou. I withheld the torment of my helplessness as I solemnly trod the road home. Megalipses. Ellipses. I got home early and ate dinner with Kanon.
What's up? You've got this glazed look on your face.
Megalipses. I was thinking about Mum. Apparently my expression betrayed my grim worries. It's possible that Kanon understood, but she didn't push the topic.
Whatever. Hey, Nissan, get this.
That's the way Kanon has survived up until now. It's not because she's particularly sensitive or anything. She just doesn't want to get involved with any trouble.
Nanchan doesn't have practice tomorrow.
You got a break?
Yep, so you should protect me.
Protect you? Something must be bothering her. She's pouting.
Well, a lot of people are gonna come try and take me away. People from TV stations, and magazines, and sponsors. How does everyone know Nanchan has a break?
Just get rid of them properly.
Of course I'm gonna say no at a time like this, but they're gonna come bother me anyway. And then they'll be like, oh, we're sorry for bothering you at a time like this. Or like, we're not here for business, we're just fans.
That's just a bit of recon before they go for the proverbial kill. So, you're saying you want me to take you out?
It's been a whole year since you did, Nissan.
That long, huh? Still, oh, guess it's not such a big deal to skip school for the day. If you want to hang out with me, then I guess I just have to suck it up. But no making a big scene out of it.
Can we go to Chiba's amusement park?
If you even get within 100 yards of that place, the tabloids will have enough material for a month.
Then what was your plan, wise guy?
Ooh, getting tough now.
Well, what do you want to do?
What do you want to do?
Heck if I know.
Oh, come on, don't pull this act on me. You've been practicing every day, so you have to hold it all in, right?
Hold it in? What are you talking about?
You know, stress, for example. I just figured you'd want to go and have some fun.
Oh.
Huh? She says. Fine then. We're just going to spend the day doing nothing. We can rent a movie.
A movie, huh? Okay, which one?
What do you like? I know how she's going to answer this.
Heck if I know.
And out the window you go.
Alright, let's watch a love story then.
No way.
Why not?
Because even if nothing dramatic really happened, I'd still fall in love. Even without a promise in my memories, I'd never let my man go. As long as he stays kind to Nanchan, Nanchan will always love him.
I have no idea what she's talking about. Okay. How about a tearjerker then? Like those mother-daughter dramas where the mom's real sweet, but the daughter's just too spoiled to realize it.
That's a tearjerker? That just makes me want to punch something now.
Oh, that sounds good. Go rent it.
I guess she didn't catch the implication.
Yeah, I know. Or maybe she did, she just doesn't care.
Then I'll go to sleep.
She dove headfirst into my bed and stopped moving. Because her... Hey, would you at least change first? But there was no answer. I should get to bed early today myself. I've been catching strange colds recently. Illnesses and headaches continually assail me. Ellipses. Megalipses. I sat alone in the dark, examining a photo. Usami Haru. The moment I said the name, a dull ache reared its ugly head in my temple. Usami Haru, is it? I know that name all too well. Unless it's a different Usami. That girl's father was the mastermind who destroyed my family. Besides Mum and Dad, I have 2 siblings. No, had. One died of a heart disease soon after birth, and the other died in a terrorist attack overseas. Dad is still rotting in a dark cell, awaiting the end of his sentence. Mum's all the way in Hokkaido, tormented by mental illness. And then there's me, who discarded the Samijina name and all it represented, for the brand is I and the sins it implies. So, I wonder, just what is happiness? Only demons exist in this world. And seeing as that's the case, the best I can do is become the lord of these demons. The devil. Ellipses. No, I won't think about such things. Usami's made no mention of it, so she probably just wants to forget about the whole ordeal. Just as I have changed my name to Azai and discarded my past, Usami must have had something of her own that drives her. Yeah, the murder boner for Maou. When it's time to lay these cards on the table, will I tell her? It's been so long since I felt so sentimental. Is it because I've been thinking about such unusual things? That night, in my dreams, I saw my mother. The guilt tore at my sleep like a beast within me. Megalipses. Ellipses. Ellipses. Megalipses. Sometimes I ask myself where the turning point in my life had been. Though I never get an answer, my memories always open to a freezing village in Hokkaido. Behind a wall as thin as paper, in a shack without double-paned windows. The wind and snow battered the roof without remorse. Mum's fingertips, nothing but weak skin wrapped around tired bones, shook violently from the frigid cold. That evening, we were huddled together just as we were every day, doing our best to endure the cold and the darkness.
Mom, can we run away?
She shook her head lightly in response, and the bruises she'd received from that monstrous man shined black in the dim lamp.
If we move too much, you won't be able to make any friends, will you?
I can make friends anywhere.
Don't push yourself too hard.
You too, Mom. Don't push yourself too hard either.
Her hand gently caressed my emaciated cheekbone. Freezing wind suddenly barraged the room. I poked my head out of the quilt and saw the bear of a man standing in the doorframe. It was Kanon. Kyousuke, you doing okay? Strangely enough, he was concerned about my health. A man who had beaten me to the brink of consciousness that very day had no right to ask such a question. I was drinking, and it just happened. Kanon sat on the floor, spread out, and began to guzzle the spirit he had brought with him. As I watched him drink, after so casually intruding into the only sanctuary my mother and I held, a sense of fear welled up inside my heart. My back and waist, where he had beat me the hardest, started to burn once again. Listen, Kyousuke, I'll get you to the hospital tomorrow. Mum spoke up.
Please, get out.
Like I said, I'm sorry.
You scared Kyousuke enough for one day.
I wasn't the only one scared of him. Mum was too. Come on, let's make up. I want to be Kyousuke's new father. That sentence may never leave me for as long as I live. Thinking about it now, Kanon was a typical violent drunk. A violent, abusive drunk. When he was sober, he played at looking for forgiveness.
If you really feel guilty, will you go buy a hot drink for him?
It's a damn blizzard outside. All the stores are closed. It was no exaggeration. The snow and wind were stronger than ever.
You got booze.
However, the vending machine right around the corner wasn't affected in the least. Kanon took a swig from the bottle. This'll warm you right up, Kyousuke. He pushed the bottle to me. His breath and the smell of alcohol made me dizzy.
Please, stop it.
What's the problem? It's just a father and son sharing a drink together. Mom came to my side, but Kanon brushed away her hand. He stared at me with lifeless eyes. Drink. Don't hold back now. Using all my strength, I closed my frozen lips. My hair stood on end. The mouth of the bottle in front of me was shining, soaked with Kanon's spit. What do you think's gonna happen to your mom if you don't drink up, boy? We're a family here. You don't think you guys can survive without my support as your father? Mom screamed. She protected me, trying to chase away the scary giant.
I get it already.
I reached out and grabbed the bottle. However, it was nearly full and incredibly heavy, and my hand slipped in surprise. With a dull sound, the bottle fell on its side. As I watched the liquid flowing out onto the old, worn floor, a sound reached my ears. That was Daddy's booze. As I was about to go into a defensive stance, I was yanked up by the collar. You pissed me off, Kyousuke. It's not every day your father gives you a chance to make up with him. What the hell do you think you're doing? Pain, fear, and burning anger assaulted me. I couldn't hold them back anymore.
What a joke! What kind of father are you?
I immediately felt myself floating in the air. My face was burning, and I was seeing stars. Mother's heartfelt screams pounded on my eardrums. My head was being held down against the floor. Lick it clean! Lick it up, boy! This is a Christmas present from your father! Christmas. At the time, I only knew that Christmas was supposed to be a day where families share warmth and love. Come to think of it, that was indeed Christmas Day. Just where is God? I wonder as my face was smashed against the alcohol-soaked floor. Shrieking and roaring melted into one. The walls were shaking, but not from the battering of anything as forgiving as the wind. Kanon had grabbed Mum's face and smashed it against the window. He grabbed her hair and cursed as spit flew everywhere. Violence again and again. Eventually, the sound of sobbing drowned the world. Was it me who was crying, or was it my mother? Either way, I couldn't stand to watch another second.
I'm sorry.
Ah!
I'm sorry.
I squeezed out one final plea with the last of my energy. I'm sorry, Dad, right? My heart was frozen. That was the moment all emotion within me died. My eyes fell on the snow outside the window. That snow would go on to emotionally cover everything. And for once, I understood its mercy. Regret, misery, everything was quick to be buried in this white, frozen world.
I'm sorry, Dad.
That was the moment I was reborn. My heart was already frozen to the core. I had no feelings whatsoever. One last time, I begged, apathetic. God, please save me. It was only something I muttered without thinking. But God must have heard it. Someone was bashing on the door with great force. The visitor that came despite all that wind and snow kicked down the door and walked in. Oh, well then.
Sorry for the intrusion.
He stepped in magnificently, a body immune to the elements, standing like a monster from the peaks of the snowiest mountain. Behind him, a few others stepped in without hesitation. There wasn't a single coat amongst them. Their pitch-black suits were covered with snow.
Did you think you could get away?
Those cold eyes looked toward my mother. Even as young as I was, I understood that they were here to collect our debt. Who the hell are you? Kanon's eyes opened wide. Who do you think you are? You think you can talk like that in front of our boss? Huh? Suddenly, one of the men in suits scowled. This man is...
Cut it.
After the large man, who seemed to be the leader, shot him a glance, the man beside him apologized and shut up. You're Yakuza, aren't you? The savior at the door had a very similar build to Kanon. However, the air that radiated from him was so different that it was visible at first glance.
You. What is your relation to this woman and her son?
Well, nothing. I'm just... I suppose that was the limit to his fatherly love.
Pay up.
Pardon?
You're going to help these two pay.
Wait, I said I had nothing to do. The next moment, Kanon's head snapped back. A fist had smashed into his face. He didn't even have time to squeal like a pig before his ears had been twisted tortuously.
So, you want to know who the hell I am,
He used his other hand to retrieve a card from his front pocket. Please, have mercy. He pressed a corner of the card to Kanon's ear, laughing coldly. Kanon's eyes were rolling back in his head.
Listen up, then.
Rolling the card into a thin stick, he jammed it in Kanon's ear. Ah! Ah! Strange, alien sounds echoed around the room.
So, who are you?
Fear and exultation finally slipped out of my mouth. Kanon, who had been a mountainous obstacle to my mother and I, had just been silenced in an instant. It wasn't an angel who descended to my aid, but a demon.
Take it away.
The demon didn't even seem to see me. He just ordered his henchmen around. Hands gripped me from all sides, dragging me away.
Wait, I'll do anything, anything.
My pleas must have annoyed the men surrounding me, as they struck me. Strangely, though, despite being hit by a punch, I didn't feel any pain.
Please, tell me.
That incredible might.
Please, let me join you.
The scenery of a poor school. Someplace I struggled day in, day out, without a single friend, suddenly floated before my eyes. As long as I follow this man, no one will scorn me ever again. I'll have the power to protect Mom. My fear was gradually ebbing as anticipation thoroughly flushed it away. Without a doubt, I was getting carried away. They threw me to the ground and stepped on me, but I didn't feel any pain. At the time, my face must have been filled with the pious light of sincere prayer to God. Finally, the demon spoke.
Can you return the money?
Money?
It's a huge sum.
I'll pay it.
You're lying, boy.
Sorry?
You answered before you even heard how much you owe me.
I'm sorry.
You're free to lie all you want, but if you're caught lying, I'll show you no mercy.
All right.
You want to join us, huh?
Yeah, please.
Then leave your mother behind and come with me.
Leave Mom?
There's no way I could do that.
Send her to Sapporo for now. It's not like you can be together anyway.
That unanswerable statement stopped me dead in my tracks.
You're headed for an orphanage anyway.
The demon's words were absolute in my ears. I believed sincerely that whatever future he saw for me was indeed my destiny.
Mom.
Our eyes met. As I think back, my face must have been a spectacle of submission and exhaustion.
Mom.
That thin neck could only shake slightly, silently, to show her fear at losing me. Our unending tragedy already had her at her limit, and I was at mine as well. I could no longer turn back.
Take me away. I beg you.
Hearing this, a cold laugh came from the demon's thick lips.
You've abandoned your mother?
I'm not abandoning her.
You just might be something someday.
No, I swore in my heart. I'm definitely not abandoning her. Having made my decision, I closely followed Azai Gonzo's back. Megalipses. Ellipses. I'll come and get you, I swear. This was the promise I made that day, as I walked away from my mother. I never followed through on that promise. Instead, I followed Gonzo through the long, hard years. When I finally had a strong enough financial base to live with Mom, I asked her about it. But I couldn't force a mentally ill woman to leave a place she feels safe in just to bring her home with me. The doctor told me that because Mom had been forced to move so many times, she was absolutely refusing to leave the place she lives at now. All I can do is give her a call once or twice a week, and spend the odd long vacation with her in Hokkaido. She's my only relative. No, I have a father, Azai Gonzo. Yet a question has always lingered in my heart. Why did Gonzo make me his foster son? There's a rumor that it allowed Gonzo, Sonoyama's underboss at the time, to impress the head honchos of Sowa. Taking in a poor child with no blood relation was a show of valor. Perhaps he just used me in order to move up the Yakuza ladder. Lord knows Gonzo didn't care about valor or honor. In any case, I lived away from my mother, and I could never bring myself to stand up to Azai Gonzo, the most powerful lord of Tomenbetsu City organized crime. If only Gonzo would allow it, I could live closer to Mum. If only. Megalipses. Ellipses.
What a wonderful story to tell the kids.
The first thing I did the next morning was send a letter and some cash to Mom. After I got home, I dangled the DVD I rented in front of Kanon. It's the one you wanted!
Good work.
Kanon gets up really early. And despite that fact, she's taking a day off, and she still bothered to take time to perfect her personal appearance this morning. Would you like some pastries?
That's so considerate, but water's just fine with me.
She might look like a complete fool, but she takes good care of her body. Well then, I'll be in the study.
Let's watch it together.
No.
Okay.
She knows where the line is. Just shout if anything comes up. I pressed the play button on the DVD player and disappeared into the study. Megalipses. Ellipses. After around 2 hours, I returned to the living room. The movie's credits were scrolling up the screen. I hadn't heard anything for a while, so I thought she might have fallen asleep again.
I finished it.
Oh, how was it?
I cried.
You did not, you liar. You fell asleep, didn't you?
I told you I finished it. The mom died in the end. It's so sad when a good person dies.
I see. I haven't seen it.
Alright, question time!
Huh? What?
The mother in this movie was a good person, but what if she had been a bad person?
I don't know. It'd make the movie kind of tedious, I guess.
Tedious.
I know that's a big word.
I mean, if a bad person dies, people just scoff and move on, right?
Right.
Ellipses.
That's right.
What's on your mind, Kanon?
You know, what we should do next. What do you want to do?
How about we grab some lunch?
Where?
I don't know yet, so let's just head for Central Boulevard for now.
Got it. I'll go get ready.
She thundered off to the washroom. She's pretty passive for someone so selfish. I was very uncomfortable with taking Kanon out. The girls on the street always point and whisper, and even the middle-aged salarymen look at us with pursed lips. Look, Kanon, can you, take 3 steps away from me?
No, thank you.
Please? The situation is looking pretty bad right now.
Nii-san, you're too gloomy. Do you really hate attention that much?
Yes.
Sure do. I'm petty like that.
How are we supposed to go on a date with you like this?
She followed behind me, pouting.
A date. She thinks we're on a date.
We eventually made it to the cafe I usually go to. Nevertheless, the waiter still recognized Kanon. His eyes shot open.
Oh yeah, I came here with you before.
You did?
A year ago.
I don't remember that.
What? How could you forget the magical day you confessed your love to Nanchan?
Quit pulling my leg. She giggled and stuck out her tongue. What do you want to eat?
You decide.
I knew you were going to say that. I picked some random dishes and turned back to Kanon. Hey, what the? Wake up! You can't sleep here. She had suddenly closed her eyes.
Oh, sorry, it's meditation time.
Meditation?
Image training. It's really important. It's going to boost my confidence in my jumps. I'm imagining making a bold start, flowing with the music, timing a jump perfectly, and landing with complete success.
Wait, so when you're sleeping in class, you're...
Yep, I'm usually on the ice. In spirit, anyway.
I suddenly felt like giving her a few more respect points. You really are something else, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm totally amazing. You can bet your bottom dollar that Nanchan won't mess up.
That's a bold thing to say.
I don't know about that. Do people actually care all that much about what other people say? I think what they really care about is what other people do.
They care when it comes to someone as famous as you. When someone like you says even the littlest thing, the whole world gossips about it.
That's why I love you so much, Nissan. Even if you complain, you still let me do what I want.
While giggling, she reached over to try to poke at my face. I pushed away her hand and continued. I know that you're always thinking about skating.
Nah, it's more like skating's the only thing I understand.
You're pretty laid back, you know that? Still, it's probably good to know what you can and cannot do. Why did you start skating?
Because Coach told me to.
Now that's a little too laid back. Was that your only reason?
I get asked that a lot. People are always looking for drama, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with people wanting to hear some great story about your introduction to skating.
If I had to give a good reason,
If you had to give a reason?
probably be that figure skating is a sport that even a Japanese girl can be the world's best at.
Ah, foreigners and Japanese have radically different physiques after all. And why did you have to be the world's best?
Well, Coach talked about it every day.
So, it's all thanks to Ikuko-san's brilliant education.
Because she talks about how she went to the Olympics every night before going to bed.
Ikuko-san came in 6th, right?
She was always saying that she should have gotten the gold, and the situation between the Soviet Union and the US was bad back then.
And what exactly does international politics have to do with getting the gold?
It used to be that 6 points was the highest you could get, all decided by the judges. It was all based on their opinions back then, and they didn't have people to analyze each technical element like they do now.
Right.
Coach said that the American judge seemed like he was going to give her a high score, so the Russian judge lowered his score to go against the Americans.
Seemed like he was going to give a high score? What? Don't the judges, judge together at the same time? How would anyone know if the American judge was going to give a high score?
There's this thing called lobby judging. It's where the officials, judges, and coaches meet and talk about these things over tea outside of the rink. She said you could pretty much figure it out from there.
Oh, come on. If a judge came up with some ridiculous score, then his life as a judge would be over.
But he'd be a hero when he got back to his home country. It's a really scary thought.
Scary indeed. But the current judging system is fine, right?
Who knows? The scoring system was only changed recently. The athletes, coaches, and judges are still getting used to it. To be honest, even Nanchan doesn't know all the details yet.
Whoa.
But there's no point anymore in a judge trying to cheat. They randomly pick 9 of the 12 judges to count and then drop the highest and lowest scores. Then they take an average of the remaining scores.
But if half the judges cheat...
If Nanchan loses, then that must be the reason for it.
She giggled, filled to the brim with confidence until the very end. At that moment, her rice omelet arrived.
Looky! Mission and Nanchan's gonna give out stars!
And just what do you plan on awarding your honors to?
First, Ini-san's gloominess. 0 stars.
Why me?
You little turd.
Ni-san, pass the chopsticks.
You don't use chopsticks for omelets.
Ni-san's comeback. 0 stars.
I'm getting mad now.
I'll bet, since you didn't even intend that as a comeback.
Hurry up and eat. I have an appointment later this afternoon.
Okay.
Megalipses. Ellipses. The sun was already setting by the time the good news came. After escorting Kanon home, I went to the company's headquarters to investigate the Shinnei group's most recent movements. You found him? The call was from Horibe. Apparently he'd already reported to Gonzou.
Sure did, son. We found that rat's nest just now.
Already? I really have to hand it to these guys. I should have known their senses would be exceptionally sharp amongst these familiar streets. But even though you got his address, you still didn't catch him? Horibe continued as if ashamed.
Well, you see, there's this kid Shu who works for me.
It went like this. A debtor told Shu that he had seen the accomplice. Shu had spread the word that any information would warrant a reward, and that debts could be nullified in part. It was only a verbal agreement, of course, but these ever-hungry, soulless slaves of money nevertheless mobilized with bloodshot eyes and searched for Mao's accomplice. An address turned up in the outskirts of the central district, where my apartment was. Earlier this afternoon, as Shu was searching around, he stumbled upon his prey. Shu gave chase immediately, but he was attacked as he turned a corner and lost his target. Afterward, Horibe rounded up a search team and put some brutal pressure on the people living nearby. After countless interrogations, they finally found the man's apartment.
Shu took a knife in the head. That fuck really got him good.
I can only imagine the cruel smile on Horibe's face right about now. Alright, I'll come join you right away.
The bastard's name is Senjou. No idea where he went though. I guess he thinks he can just get away with this.
Horibe's dark laugh screeched to a halt as I hung up. I immediately contacted Usami and headed toward the scene. Ellipses. Megalipses. 8 p.m. The place had already been searched. It was a cheap room in a cheap building, and it was utterly unsettling. Black. The table, cabinets, carpet, everything was pitch black. Construction paper was pasted over the windows, making it impossible for light to seep into the room. On one of the walls hung a scroll with the characters for Empire drawn in calligraphy. His shelves were lined with massive amounts of books in that same vein, probably serving to fuel his anti-societal beliefs even further. The fact that everything was in neat order only added to this eeriness.
Sorry I'm late.
Usami charged in, gasping for air. You're more than late. Was it your part-time job?
Yeah, I really couldn't get away today. So, what's the situation?
I gave her a rundown of what happened.
So his name is Senjou, huh? What about the Yakuza guys?
Horibe is leading them to Tokyo Station right now.
Tokyo Station? For what, the bullet train?
Yeah. Apparently the punk is trying to escape to Hakata.
The moment you mention Hakata, I think of the Ming Dynasty.
Fukuoka, you idiot. Why did you think of ancient China?
Wait, how do you know where he's planning to go?
I searched the creep's room just now. Horibe didn't touch anything once he saw the room was empty, and left the rights to search it to me. The first thing we noticed was that the safe had been emptied. The door was left open, and there was nothing but a seal stamp left inside. The closet was open too, and clothes were scattered everywhere.
I see, so he took what he could and ran. But that still doesn't explain why you'd think he was heading for the country of pork bone ramen.
The computer was still on. He really was in a rush. And he was online too. The browser was still open.
What was Senjou looking at just before he fled?
The blog of some random entertainer.
No way. Was Fujiwara? Still, that was probably left up just to fool us.
I thought so too, so I checked his history.
You thought this out?
That brought me straight to the Japan Railways website. I also looked up his search strings and discovered that he had looked up information about getting a seat on a bullet train to Hakata.
It's 8 o'clock now. Senjou'd already be on the train, wouldn't he?
I'm afraid so. The creep left at 4:30.
4:30? How do you know that?
His phone. I hit redial and a taxi company picked up.
I follow you. You asked the company and they told you he called for a cab to arrive at 4:30?
It takes around an hour and a half to get to Tokyo by taxi. Less than that if you change to a train somewhere along the way.
It's 8 o'clock now. This is problematic.
I don't know if we'll make it or not, but I sent a few people to the Haneda airport in Tokyo.
The bullet train to Hakata takes 5 hours, but it's only an hour and a half by plane. Thus, it's still possible to set up an ambush at Hakata Station. You're good, Asisa.
Usami nodded in appreciation, but then lifted her finger.
But there's a little more to it than that.
I know. He searched for the bullet train line which terminates at Hakata, but that doesn't mean he's going to get off at Hakata.
Very good.
All we know is the name of the train line Senjou searched for. I sent people to Yokohama, Nagoya, Osaka, and all the other stations to cover all the bases. The Gonzou Sonoyama Group is a huge organization with over 1,000 people. Certainly, one would need a good number of people in order to secure so many exits, but these people almost lost a blood brother to this man. Thus, no matter how long the journey is, they would bear the suffering. Still, if he really escaped to Western Japan, we're in quite a bit of trouble.
It's kind of funny to imagine Yakuza worrying about jurisdiction.
She's right though. In Hakata, which isn't part of our territory, Soa men can't just go around grabbing people off the streets like they do here.
So that's why he chose Hakata. The marinated Alaska pollock roe there is pretty scrumptious too. This guy has some good ideas.
She bent down as she joked around. What are you doing now?
Going through the garbage.
Don't tell me you're hunting for clues.
Damn straight. I trust that you went through the room thoroughly, so I'll skip ahead to the dirty work.
Waiting in the putrid pile of garbage, she tore open bags with a perfectly calm expression.
Heh. Found it. This looks like a diary about Great Japan. I guess that makes this Sanjo's garbage. Huh, knew it.
Huh? You know what?
Oh, it's just that our man Saijo is quite careless when he's not following Mao's instructions. The blueprint for Mao's railway to hell may be perfect, but we can always hope for a mistake from the man laying down the tracks. Especially in the garbage. During everyday life, it'd be strange to see it this way, but this mountain of garbage is actually a mountain of evidence.
She plunged her hand into the bag, closely examining the contents. A mountain of evidence? But Saijo's already on a bullet train.
Yes, your deduction was indeed logical.
Is there something still bugging you?
I was just thinking that everything's been too easy. Ugh, this stinks. I'm gonna have to take a shower after this.
Hey, what are you calling easy?
Well, if he was really too hurried to turn off the computer, then why was it turned on in the first place?
Ellipses.
And he went to a blog to confuse us. Pretty leisurely, huh? I just can't imagine he was actually short on time.
She has a point. There was no real need for him to check the railway website from his own room. It'd be far safer to find a random internet cafe while on the move, and search for information there.
Plus, he was searching for seat reserves. I could understand doing so if we were in peak travel time, but Christmas is still a bit far off for that. He could just stand if no seats were available.
That's logical.
However, if Saijo had really been thinking about getting as far away as possible, all of this would still be reasonable. You never know what someone will do when they're in a panic.
Perhaps I was a little hurried too. Sorry. I guess I was focused on getting the clues that I got careless. There's a good chance that Mao's true goal was to mislead us into thinking this man was on his way to Hakata. Usami didn't speak, but merely shook her head in response. Suddenly, her face stiffened.
Oopsies.
She picked up a piece of paper.
Eli-san, when did you guys get here?
I showed up a little after 6. Horibe got here a bit earlier. Usami stared at the dirty piece of paper.
Your package arrived today at around 5, but you weren't here. End quote.
What the fuck? Someone left a note? Usami nodded.
So if this message ended up here in the trash, then that means Saijo was home at some point after 5 o'clock.
That's right. Saijo would have left at 4:30, as I had guessed. Then the note would have been in the mailbox, not in the garbage. The cab was bait. He only called it. He never got in.
No, I guarantee you he got in, took a short ride, and got out somewhere close nearby. Otherwise, the cab company would have told you something.
I wish I had asked for the specific drop-off location when I called. No, I'm not the police. There's no reason for them to tell me. He got out nearby, and when he got back to his room, the note was there, right?
Right. This is an important clue.